Hi and welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Elena Russo. Unfortunately, Parkinson's disease is one of the many diseases that plague our country. And if you know somebody or have a family member who is unfortunate enough to have that disease, the best thing to do is to arm yourself with good information. Today we're talking to John Schall, the Deputy Chief Executive Officer for Parkinson's Action Network. John, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you for having me. It's an honor to be here.
When we're talking about Parkinson's disease, I know we don't know a whole lot about it, but what kind of numbers are we talking about in terms of people who are struggling with it?
There are over 1 million people in the United States today who have Parkinson's disease. And when you think about how many additional people, as family members or caregivers of those 1 million who are suffering from Parkinson's, you see that it takes a very big toll across the country.
And learning about how to figure out what the symptoms are or how to deal with it, handle that issue, that's where you come in handy.
Well, it's a very tough disease. Parkinson's disease, like so many neurological diseases, vary tremendously from person to person and develops over a course of a number of years. So people will have different symptoms that may occur first, motor symptoms, some stiffness, problems in swallowing. They can vary tremendously, and that's why it can be a very difficult disease to diagnose in the early stages, and sometimes takes time to diagnose it. But certainly, once people have had it diagnosed, there are some medications available that can treat the symptoms for a number of years. But it's a very tough disease, no question about it.
But learning about the disease and how to live with it, is that something that the Parkinson's Action Network really helps people?
That's exactly what we do at the Parkinson's Action Network. And that's why I'm here to talk about our event, the PAN Forum that we're going to have on February 28th. With over 1 million people across the country with Parkinson's, each year the Parkinson's Action Network hosts a forum to bring people across the country in the Parkinson's community together, uniting their voices and making our voices heard with members of Congress and other policymakers.
Let's talk about this forum. Now, this happens over a course of a couple of days.
3 days. And there are really two ways for people to participate, two options. One way is a live webcast where people across the country can participate in the webcast really from their own home and their own home computer, where they hear the keynote address, they hear the educational sessions, and they can actually participate in them. It's interactive. They can ask questions from their home computer to the panelists as it's happening in Washington, D.C. The other way to participate, for those who are willing and able, is actually to come here in Washington, D.C., be part of the 2 days of educational sessions, be trained as an advocate, and then on March 2nd, we put both those groups together in what we call the Parkinson's Community's Call on Congress, where those who have been participating via webcast, we have them email or phone calls to their members of Congress. We make it easy for them to do. And those who are here in Washington, D.C., we actually have them go up and talk with their members of the House and the Senate, and we arrange those meetings for them.
It sounds like an incredible way to gain an understanding of what to do when somebody suffers from Parkinson's.
No question about it. And it ends up being a very powerful event. Because the reason we do it, the why we do it, is because there's nothing more powerful than for a person with Parkinson's to be able to tell their personal story to their member of Congress or the Senate. To go into their senator, say, this is how Parkinson's affects me, my family, thousands of others in the state have the same thing. Here's how it affects us, and here's what we need. Nothing substitutes for that personal story communicated to the policymakers.
Are there any costs involved, whether you come in person to this forum or participate online?
The webcast on February 28th for people across the country is free. It's very easy to register for. You simply go to our website, thepanforum.org, and register. It's very easy to do, and it is free. The in-person Washington part of it for a couple of days, there is a cost to the conference, and we then help people get to their members of Congress.
Great. Thank you so much for coming in and giving us all this fabulous information.
Thank you so much.
You've just heard from John Schall, the Deputy Chief Executive Officer for Parkinson's Action Network. To learn more on what's going on in your community, check out On Demand and click Get Local. For Comcast Newsmakers, I'm Elena Russo.